better through the pain. But look at us now, honest and better. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. All I know is people talk without listening. What I'm saying is life's too short to live in these extremes. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. And all through the night I wondered and waited.
Fake news. Boston wrestling is fake news.
Divided we fall to wait here for you, holding it together, just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come. And all I know is annualized confusion. And what I'm saying is you don't realize what this means. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. Just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come.
Well, hello. This is Mr. USA WWE Hall of Fame, along with my sister, friend, and partner, Larry the Hillbilly, that been helping me with the program. Without old Larry here, Tony Atlas know nothing about computer. The only thing I know about computer is nothing.
Before 5 months ago.
Before 5 months ago. Now I know how to talk on one, but I don't know exactly how to operate one. But I'm lucky, in this world you have friends, and my mother said a friend in need is a friend indeed. Larry been a great friend to me for many, many years up here in the good state of Maine. I live in Maine, as y'all well know, born in Virginia, but I like Maine because Maine reminds me a lot of Virginia back when. Virginia have changed a lot over the years, but Maine pretty much I've been up here for 30 years, and really be honest with you, Maine ain't really changed that much. Maine got a lot of great history. Jack Dempsey fought in Maine. Muhammad Ali fought in Maine.
Phantom Punch.
Yeah, the Phantom Punch, the sucking fight. It's supposed to have been done at the Boston Garden, but because Ali was involved at that time with Malcolm X, and the boxing commissioner did not want to be involved in politics, which I can't blame him. So they asked Ali to disassociate himself from Malcolm X, and the black Muslim. So Ali, a man of faith and everything, decided that he wasn't going to do it. So they threatened to cancel the show. So they delayed the show, not cancel, delayed the match. Finally, the money started coming in, and like most promoters, they want to make that money. So they ran the show anyway, but they couldn't get the Boston Garden. It was all booked up. So they traveled 120 miles down the road to a little town called Lewiston, Maine, and where they had the Phantom Punch. Now, a lot of people take and say, well, Tony, how you know that? You wasn't there. Well, you're right. I wasn't there. But the man that was there, he told me this. Because I met this man in Georgia on his comeback, and on his comeback, he wanted to. He was going to get ready to fight Antonio Inoki
Antonio
Inoki. They were going to fight in Japan. Well, they wanted me to work with him a little bit and get to know him and everything. The man I'm talking about, just so y'all know that who I got it from. There it is. A young Tony Atlas. Can they see that, Larry?
Let me see that, Tony.
Yeah, a young Tony Atlas. That's it. That's Tony Atlas right here with hair. And that's Muhammad Ali. And what is so surprised about, I'm 6'2". and you can see Ali tower over top of me. And you know he's looking down at my bicep. He got his hand on my bicep. He asked me, he said, "What the hell you got underneath that suit?" And the promoter wanted me to take the suit off in order to show off my muscle, but I didn't want to outstage Ali. I figured that was his time, and I'm the type of person I know when to move to the front, when to move to the back, when to stand up, when to sit down, when to talk, when to shut up. You know. But anyway, make a long story short, he told me the story about what happened, the reason he ended up fighting Sonny Liston on his second fight. This is where the final punch was down, right here in good old Louis Domain. So Maine got a lot of great history of athletes. So it's a great state, great environment to live in, and a lot of good people. Well, y'all didn't tune in to hear about Maine. I hope someday y'all want to take a vacation, come back and visit this wonderful state. I was talking earlier about in the olden days where wrestling was such a what I want to say, such a tight knit. It was almost like joining a club. You had to be a club member. But once you was in, it was like being in a family. But to get in that family was very, very hard to get in that family. And so what they used to do, not no more, they probably couldn't get away with it now. What they would do, they would put you in matches, or when they train you, they put you against what they call shooters. Now, y'all probably hear me say before what a shooter is. A shooter is a guy that have a great, great amateur background, either in judo, or boxing, or karate, or wrestling, or just being like Harley Race. Harley Race never went to the Olympics or anything, but he was a legitimate tough guy. Sweet Hansen never went to the Olympics, but he was a legitimate tough guy. One of the guys that I ran into when I first started my career was a guy called Carl Gotch. Now, before I tell the stories about Carl Gotch, Larry got some notes here that me and him looked up. Really, Larry looked them up. Showed me for me, to be honest with you, And he's going to read off some stuff about Carl Gotch here. So listen up to what he's going to say about Carl Gotch. A little bit of his background, when he started, where he was born and everything.
Carl Gotch was born in 1924 in Belgium.
1924 in Belgium.
He, let's see, Carl Gotch is not his real name, of course. Everybody had a pseudonym.
By the name. His real name was what, Larry?
It was Charles Istaz.
Charles Istaz. And he was born in Belgium.
Yep.
And like I was saying earlier, most of the wrestlers that I met, they was not from America. They were from Canada. They had very few American wrestlers, believe it or not, even though the wrestling was here in America. And Carl Gotch had an amateur background too, did he?
He should. Well, here's the other thing is, he may have been born in Belgium, but he grew up in Hamburg, Germany. And if he was born in 24, by the time he got to Germany, you're talking
during World War II. Yeah, he was born during World War II. So. See, the reason, and Carl Gotch was probably one of the toughest guys that I ever met. I mean, everybody else been in this business, we speak of Carl Gotch. Gotch used to go to Japan, and in Japan he was known as what?
The god of wrestling.
The god of wrestling. You see, in Japan, it wasn't like it was in America. You have to fight for your life. Because in Japan, they look at it as all Americans, every American wrestler, what you call a heel, a bad guy. It was very hard to be a babyface in Japan. They brought us over so the Japanese guys could beat up on us. Well, they get in the ring with Carl Gotch. He was the most respected wrestler in Japan. I used to hear a story and seen things where Carl Gotch was kind of like Bruiser Brody. He go over to Japan, he beat the hell out of them Japanese wrestlers. And they were some of the best athletes I've seen in my life. But Carl Gotch would get a hold of them, and he just would beat the living dog mess out of him. I think it was also an Olympian, right?
He most certainly was. He was in Belgium. He participated in, both freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling.
Freestyle and Greco-Roman.
In the 1948 Olympics.
In 1948 Olympics. See that these were the type of guys that came into the wrestling business. Guys like Carl Gott, ex Olympian and stuff like that. When I first started in wrestling, it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. When I first met Carl Gott, he was in the shower, and they said, "Well, we trained this kid." Gene Anderson was telling Carl Gott, he said, "Hey, let me work out with him a little bit." So I could hear that Gene said, "Don't hurt him. George Scott likes him. Don't hurt him." And I'm sitting there with my big arm, my big chest, my big muscle. Well, Carl Gotch was not a small man either. He was 6'3" or 6'4" or something.
6'1",
6',
245 pounds
200
back in
Right, but he was like a rock hard individual. Look at the chest and the shoulder on Carl Gotch. And he been known all through the wrestling. You ask Ric Flair about Carl Gotch. You ask any old timer about Carl Gotch. Now the young kid, they wouldn't know nothing about these type of people. So Carl Gotch, Gene said, "I don't want you to hurt him. George Scott like him." So he said, "Okay." So I get on the mat with him, and I never felt so much pain all day in my life. The first thing he would do when you go to lock up, he take that elbow and rub it all in your face. By the time he get through with the elbow in your face felt like jello. I mean, he just had, every time you touch him, even when you got him in a hole, you was in pain. And I think he was like most wrestlers back during them days. They were a little bit on the sadistic side. Yeah, the more you holler, the more you scream, the more they put it on you. They're like they got off on it. They just really, really, really want to show you how tough it was. So I worked out with Carl Gotch on the mat, and he showed me, a few hopes and stuff. Because back in the older days, I could lose a fight to another wrestler, but I could not lose a fight with a wrestling fan, because people thought wrestling was all fake. It was not all fake. They had fake to it, but not 100%. So Carl Gotch would get you down in the ring and put you in a hole and say, "Let me see you get out of this." And he would hold that hope, and you couldn't get out of it. But the people want to entertain the people, so he would let you out of that hope, put you in another one, put you in another one. He put one on this arm, then one on this arm, and then one on your back, and then one on this leg, and then one on this leg. By the time you left the ring with him, you're like this. Your arms hurt, your shoulder hurt, your back, every freaking thing hurt. It felt like you lay down on the ground, and what is that big thing that rolled the
steamroller?
A steamroller. You felt like you got ran over by that steamroller. And to Carl Gott, this is the way it was. Then when I saw him over in Japan, and I saw how he beat up the Japanese wrestler, you felt sorry for the wrestler. You felt sorry for anybody that got in the ring with Carl Gott. Unfortunately for Carl Gott, he never really built a big name for himself, and he never made as much money as he should have made because of his ability to shoot and rip people's head off, because he was the type of guy that they was afraid to put the belt on him, because if Carl Gott said, "No, I'm not going to lose to this guy," then you got a problem, And that was a problem with a lot of these shooters. You could put a belt on them, but how in the hell are you going to get it up? Because the wrestler back then, we had some say-so. Today, you have no say-so. One of the ways that I believe, I don't know for sure, but just my experience tell me, that the reason Vince put all the territories out of business. Now people say, what were the territories? This is a map of the territory. I'm going to show y'all to you first, and then I'm going to have Larry to read off some of the territory. You see? These are the territories. If you notice, AWA was the larger territory. AWA went all the way down to Texas, Grove, and way up here in the corner is the WWF. And they went from Maine to Maryland. Once you got in Virginia, that was Mid-Atlantic. This is the old territory. So, Larry, if you don't mind, read off all the different territory they had when I started business.
Well, you had the Pacific Northwest,
that's one.
Washington and Oregon.
Washington and Oregon.
You have The AWA.
AWA.
Wow, they had a lot of.
They were the biggest territory. AWA, American Wrestling Alliance. They went all the way from Minnesota all the way to to Vegas.
They went past Vegas. They went into California.
They went all the way to California, upstate, Northern California. Yeah.
Global.
We have Global.
Southwest.
What was Southwest?
World Class.
World Class, which was Texas.
Yes, you had Mid South.
Mid South was part of Oklahoma and Louisiana.
And Arkansas.
And
Mississippi.
You
got the Central States, which
Central
is
State.
Kansas and Missouri.
Kansas and Missouri was Central State.
You had World Championship Wrestling up in Michigan.
Yep.
You had the WWA in Indiana and part of Illinois. You had Mid-America, which was Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Then you had
Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic, that's where I started. That was Charlotte. That was North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. That's where I got my start at.
And you had Southeast
Wrestling. Florida Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling,
and Florida. Florida and Georgia.
And then when you look at the first was a WWF when I started there, Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and they went from Maine down to Maryland. Once you got past Maryland, that was all Mid-Atlantic. But that's the idea of the territories that was in this business. That's why a lot of wrestling, once you got into the wrestling business, you didn't have to worry about doing anything else the rest of your life. Because you have all these different, you have 20 or 30 different territories to work. So I could work on the Northeast, and then for 2 or 3 years or 5 years, and then I could go to the West, and that just in America. And we also have Canada wrestling. We have wrestling all through Canada. In different areas. Then that Calgary was ran by Stu Hart, which is Bret Hart, our father. And then we have Mexico. You could go to Mexico and South America. Then you could go to Japan. You could go to Germany. So they have different territory. The best thing, in one way, it was the best thing, and another way, it was the worst thing. In 1973, Ted Turner bought TBS, and all he had was old movies. There was no CNN then. So he needed something to get the station up and going. So he was a good friend with Jim Barnett. And Jim Barnett and Ted Turner teamed up to form Georgia Championship Wrestling. Georgia Championship Wrestling went into 48 different states. 48 different states. The only place that it didn't go at that time was Alaska and Hawaii. But I was wrestling in Georgia, and people in California, people in Oregon, people in New York, people in Florida could all see me from this little bit of station. Now, we had everybody want to come there. Dusty Rhodes came there. Oh, this guy came. That guy came. We was getting people from all over the place coming. They didn't have cable television. That's why I try to talk about some of these wrestlers that career ended before cable got as big as it did. Like the guy like Carl Gotch. And, these guys, like me and Larry all put up there when wrestling was real. If you wrestle Johnny Valentine, Joe LeDoux, Gene Anderson, Harley Race, any of these guys, you would have sworn with the match, you was in a real fight. And they used to tell me, they said, Tony, if you win it, make the guy look good before you beat him. Because you're only as good as your opponent. But if you lose in a match, make sure you take at least 80% of that match. That way you keep yourself very, very strong. That's why we had a lot of guys that never made a big name for themselves. And I mentioned a few on the last show, kind of like Johnny Ross and S.D. Jones. But there was other like Killer Brooks, for example. He was never a big name in the world of wrestling. But when you wrestled Killer Brooks, you felt like you was in a real fight. They believe in keeping everything tight, slug, and everything. One of the things that I really, really miss, and I'm sure a lot of you fans do, is the believability of wrestling. I try, and I'm not.
Amen, brother.
I tried very hard to watch uh, WWE. I mean, I tried to watch it, but I can't. I feel like the program is designed for 3-year-olds. There's nothing means nothing. Nothing means anything. I learned that a move is only as good as your opponent sells it. That is sell it to the people. That will make the people believe in this hope. When I used to pick a man up over my head, when I done that, the people believe in that move. So they would cheer even before I do it. I would stand and I would just do this. Later on, Hulk Hogan started doing it, even though he never pressed nobody. He took my gimmick, So he started doing that. People saw me do that. Jimmy Superfly Snooker, when he pulled his knee pads up, he would stop and pull his knee pad up. Once he pulled the knee pad up, the people knew what was coming. They knew he was going to go up, and down on his opponent. And they knew the match was over. Once he hit that smash up top rope, they didn't expect his opponent to get up and beat up Jimmy. When Mr. Wrestling number 2 gave you that knee, they knew that was it. When Mr. Wrestling number 1, Tim Wood, put that sleep on you, they knew that was it. When Sergeant Slaughter put the camel clutch, Cobra clutch on you, they knew that was it. Camel clutch, that was Iron Sheik.
Right.
Iron Sheik camel clutch. So the idea was we wanted to give the people something that they could believe in. They knew it was a little bit of this and that, but we tried very, very best to let the people escape reality for a few hours. For a few hours, they could go into the world of wrestling. And what they saw, they really, really believe in it. Just to show you how much people believe in how good a job that we was doing. Not me, but the guys before me, the guys that taught me. I was riding with Johnny Weaver one time. I'm going to get back to Gotch. I hadn't forgot about Gotch. I was riding with Johnny Weaver one time, and this lady came up to Johnny Weaver and said, "Is wrestling fake?" Johnny Weaver said, No, it's not fake. That lady said, "Oh, yes, it is. There's no way, blah, 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 blah." She argued with me, telling him, "Yes, it is." Johnny said, "No, it's not." The lady said, "Yes, it is." So they get a debate. Then we went to the next time. Johnny Weaver told me, said, "Watch this." So another person came over, a man and woman, come to Johnny Weaver and said, "Is wrestling fake?" Johnny Weaver said, "Yes, it is." So the other person, "Oh, no, it's not, because I'm on a Blackjack Mulligan. I was sitting right there with Blackjack Mulligan, hit him in the head with that chair, and the blood came everywhere. I saw the cuts on the head. Wrestling, not all of it, it's not all fake." So we just have fun with that. When somebody tell us that the answer is wrestling fake, and we say no, they would argue with us. The answer is wrestling fake, and we say yes, they would argue with us.
Just looking at argue.
Yeah, because they didn't know. They didn't know because they see things that made them think it was fake, but then they would see something else that make them think that it was for real. That was the key to drawing the people in. The wrestler was like a masked man, and everybody wanted to see who was on that mask. We knew there was somebody under that mask, but we didn't exactly know exactly who was under that mask. So that was the idea of wrestling. It's kind of like a movie. I went to see this movie called Gladiator. The Gladiator. I love that movie. I told Fit Finley in 2008 that he should watch that movie because the character in Gladiator is so much like Fit Finley. I mean, the same personality, everything. The more I look at that actor that played the Gladiator, the more I thought that was Fit Finley. But I really, really enjoyed that movie. One day, I'm turning on TV, they said, "We're going to have the Gladiator." I said, "Oh, man, I like that movie. I'm going to watch it again." So before they show the movie, they show us how we did everything. I thought he was fighting a tiger. Wasn't fighting no tiger. Tiger wasn't even in the freaking room. They film a tiger somewhere else. Then they put what they call the green screen up, and it made it look like the tiger was there when the tiger was never there. Kill it from it. Didn't want to see the movie no more. Sometimes some things are best just left alone.
Magicians.
Yeah, it's like a magician. You go in, it's a trick to pull the ribbon out the hat. You enjoy the trick, but then somebody tell you how to do the trick. It's kind of like going to a movie and you bump into an old buddy and say, hey, how was the new Star Wars movie? Oh, it was great, man. You should see what they did. The Darth Vader started telling you the movie. And you said there, brother, I really want to go see this movie, but you just don't told me what's going to happen at the beginning, what happened in the middle, and you tell me what the finish of the movie is. You hate for somebody to tell you what the movie is all about before you go see the movie. Well, for some odd reason, Vince McMahon decided to be the guy to tell you what's going on in the movie before you go see the movie. And if you watch one match, and like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from them guys. They have no control on what they do in the ring. I was kind of blessed because if I was going to wrestle somebody like King Kong Bundy, they would come to me and say, Tony, we want you to put Bundy over. When I put someone over me, let them win. That's what putting over me. And I would go, yes. And then they said, he's going to use the splash. Okay. That's the only talking we did. If I was going to do an interview, they said, Tony, you got a 30-second interview or you got a 1-minute interview. You're going to be talking about Greg Valentine. Y'all going to wrestle in the Spectrum in Philly. That's all the information they gave me. What came out of my mouth on every interview you ever seen a man prior to my returning to the WWE, it came out of here. I didn't have a script to read. I mean, I didn't sit there and study what to say until 2008. In fact, in 2006, Vince asked me to write my speech down. I said, for what? He said, so that the writers could go over it to see if if your speech is okay. I said, I thought it was my speech. Well, it is your speech, Tony, but I want the writers to go over it so they can make the corrections. I said, okay, I'll write a speech. So now the ceremony starts. The writer come up to me and said, Tony, you got your speech? I said, yeah, I got my speech. He said, can I see it? I said, yes, you can. It's right here. So I showed him my speech. Now the speech that I've written, I'm going to show y'all. Can you see that? See that speech? The writer said, what? I'm going to tell Vince. Tell him I can't write. Just tell Vince I can't write. So when I did my speech at the 2006 WWE Hall of Fame induction in Chicago on April the 2nd or 1st, somewhere along that. I think it was April the 1st or something. But anyway, when I did my speech, I did it the old school way. I didn't write a speech. I didn't rehearse anything. I just went out and just talked, just like I'm talking to you guys now. This is one of the reasons why Marty and the Pharaoh gave me the opportunity to talk and say what I want to say without somebody telling me what to say, what to do, and how to walk and how to talk.
April 2nd.
April the 2nd, 2006. That was my speech. I handed him a blank piece of paper. First word on his mouth.
You might have been the last person to do that.
You're probably right, Larry. I did. I gave him a blank piece of paper. I said, y'all inducted Tony Atlas. I ain't no actor or no Hollywood dancer or anything. I'm a freaking wrestler. And that's how I live my life. I wanted to be a wrestler, and I want to make wrestling look legitimate. When I used to do my press slam, one of the things that a lot of guys used to do was put the hand on another guy's shoulder and push up. I'll tell them, don't do that. I have them to hold their arms out to the side like this. In fact, on one of the programs, I'll get a picture of me press slamming Killer Brooks. So you can see me holding Killer Brooks over my head, and Killer Brooks got his arm out there. I wanted the people to see me doing it. Because that's what made the people believe in that Tony Atlas press slam. If they don't see the guy assisting me in no type of way, then people are going to say, wow, Tony really lifted that guy. He really did it. When I used to bench press the 500 pounds in the ring, I used to set the weights at the door. So everybody could come in and try to lift it off the floor. Them weights never left the eyes of the public. Old Anderson told me to do this. I explained why in a few minutes. By the time the weights left that front door where everybody saw the weight, and the weights never left their eyes. They didn't take the weights back in the back and bring them back or any of this and that stuff. They saw the weight, and they bring the weight straight into into the ring. What I would do, I would get in the back, I would do push-ups and stuff like that to warm up the muscles so I don't rip nothing, and I would walk out of that dressing room, walk to the ring. I would take that 500 pounds off, and I would bench it. Now, I got to tell you a funny story. In Atlanta, Georgia, at the Omni, they wanted me to bench press 500 pounds. I used to work out with a kid by the name of Skip Young. Skip Young. Now, I think there's a picture on the table there, Larry, of me doing that with Dusty Rhodes.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening was Dusty was a big star, one of the biggest stars that the rest of the world have ever seen. So Skip Young at that time, Sweet Brown Sugar, he was not a big name in wrestling. So they said, hey, Tony, why don't you have Dusty to spot you? Now, Dusty didn't work out. Dusty was one of these type of wrestlers back in the old days that they believed that lifting weights make you muscle bound. So Dusty never went to the gym or anything else. So you can just take that one off the wall, Larry.
That's what
I got one of me and Junkyard Dog too.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, don't knock my trophies over.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, my room is very cluttered because Larry can say I got trophies everywhere, and half of them is not even in this room. Half of them is Anyway, that's I don't know if y'all can see it. Right there is Dusty Rhodes spotting me. Charlie Smith, the referee, and the guy cheering me is Tito Santana. And at the bottom there is me bench pressing with Cowboy Bill Watts, with the JYD, the Junkyard Dog, spotting me with 550. It's 500 with Dusty Rhodes, 550 with Dog. Now, there's a funny story to go with both of them. So anyway, they didn't want Skip Young to spot me. So they told Skip Young, Skip, we're going to let Dusty Rhodes do it. And Skip at that time was my partner. He was my tag team partner. So we worked out together every day in the gym. Dusty did push-ups and set-ups and jumping jack, calisthenics. They didn't believe in weightlifting. Later on, I had Larry to read off what Gotch did for his way of training. He didn't lift weights either, but he was tough and strong. But anyway, when the match started, Dusty Rhodes got the idea he going to get the people going. Now, the ring is springy.
Mm-hmm.
So Dusty started jumping up and down and clapping. I take the 500 pounds off, and when Dusty started jumping up and down, I got 500 pounds like this, and this is how I look. And I got 500 pounds. I'm telling Charlie Smith, Charlie, tell Dusty to hold still. Now, Dusty don't know nothing about weightlifting. This is 500 pounds, Then I'm bouncing around on the ring, and I'm scared to bring it down because if I bring it down, tell him what's going to happen. So finally, Charlie Smith had to tell Dusty, wait till I do it, then do the clapping. So the ring was here. I was on the bench over here when Dusty started clapping. By the time Dusty Rhodes got through clapping, the bench was over here. So it was like one of these old wash machines, So, but Dusty didn't know about it. Lucky for me, I did the 500-pound bench. Y'all also saw a picture of me with JYD. At the bottom there, JYD spot me. This is on the Mid-South tape. If you buy the tape called Mid-South, they got me doing first 500 and then 550. Just show you people don't know nothing about weightlifting, what they do. Dusty Rhodes, the first story, when they put somebody with me, don't know nothing about weightlifting. The second story was, I was working out in this gym with Junkyard Dog in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Then we had to drive to do a TV taping for Cowboy Bill Watts in Louisiana. So Dog was in the dressing room and said, man, that Tony Strong is, I don't know what. Boy, that Tony Atlas Strong. He just did 550 like it was nothing. Cowboy Bill Watson, he did, Cowboy Bill Watson, he did what? He just did 550 pounds. It was real easy to him. Man, that Tony Atlas is strong. That Tony Atlas strong. So I just got through working out. So I walk in the building with my bag and everything. Bill Watts called me. Hey, Tony. I said, yeah, Bill. Come on over here. He said, told the guy, we said, we got to do an interview. So he interviewed me. He said, I understand that you do 500 some pounds on the bench. I said, yes, sir. He said, we want you to do it now. I was thinking, brother, I just got through bench pressing 550. I just did a 2-hour workout. My muscles all tight. So I just left the gym, and then Bill Watts got 500 pounds already on the bar. Already on the bar. So he had me do the 500. And then he said, well, Tony, let's do a little bit more. Let's do 550. So then let's do the 550 again. Because they didn't understand that you have to have a rest in between workout. One time, Ole Anderson had me to bench press 500 pounds for a month. Every night. At every show. I did 500 pounds every night. It's a wonder how I did these things. I don't know. One of the wrestlers told me the reason I was able to do it every night, 500 pounds in the bench, was the energy.
The adrenaline.
The adrenaline.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah, the adrenaline you get from the people. When I walk out to that ring, you see these people is depending on you. They depending on you to do what they pay their money for. You know, money was hard to come by back in them days. You know, there's old saying, don't buy a pig in a poke. What that means, back in Europe years and years ago, there was a lot of stray cats. So what they would do, they would take a stray cat, put him in a sack, canvas sack, and then they would sell it to you. Well, if you didn't look in that sack, you think you got a small pig when you get home to cook it. You get home, it's a stray cat. Yeah, that's where the term comes from. That's where that term comes from. Don't buy a pig in a poke. Mm-hmm. You know, it came from Europe when they used to sell, because they had a lot of stray cats around, you know, in Europe back in the day. So people would buy it and don't look into the bag. The guy would see, well, don't look at that, because you thought it was stolen. So you think somebody don't stole somebody's pig, because the guy that selling to you, he didn't have a restaurant, he didn't have a grocery store, he didn't have a farm. So the first thought hit your man, he stole it. So that's where the old term comes from, don't buy a pig in a poke. Always look at or read between the lines, because all these was old sayings to keep people from getting screwed, because they've been con men since the beginning of time. But them are some of the things that they would ask me to do in the wrestling world, because they just figure, like y'all probably saw this interview. I never did these things a day in my life. I'm in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and Kim Patero challenged me to test of strength. You know, I had worked out with weights and stuff like that, but Patero, weights wasn't even involved. He go and get them reinforcement bars.
Rebar,
with the
crisscross
across the rebar.
You put it in the concrete.
Put it in the concrete. Yeah. So Patero walked out there. I never bent a bar a day in my life. He was bending around his neck and said, give it to me. Now you do it, Tony. What you talking about? Luckily, I did it. Not easily. I remember I did it once. When I first did it, I got it down to here. I was so freaking lightheaded, and you're going to see me on tape go, woo. I was freaking lightheaded. Now, another time, Patero, it's all tape. He's going to take a 10-penny nail, put it in his hand, and drive it through a 2x4. So I take the nail and put it in the hand, and one of the guys said, Tony, maybe you should wrap your hand in a cloth or a napkin or something. I said, why is that? Ain't that cheating? He said, no. He said, if you hit that nail, it's going to go through the board, but it also going to go through your hand. I said, oh, that makes sense. Tony ain't the brightest guy in the world. I've never been all that smart. You look at a guy that, you say, Tony, go out in the ring and shine, I dump and have a freaking bottle of baby oil on me. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that they were talking to that time. You look at a guy that runs from the cop to climb a tree. I'm not the brightest bulb in the room. So I did what the guy said. Luckily that I was able to do it. And the reason why I left them weights at the front desk, someone told me a story. Ole Anderson. There was going to be a bench press contest against superstar Billy Graham and Kim Patero. So neither one of them is bench pressing is powerlifting. Now, Patero can take 500 pounds, bring it to his chest, and push it up over his head. He could do it that way. But laying on a bench, Patero couldn't do 500 pounds. Superstar Billy Graham was a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders don't lift, they lift heavy. Today, they lift real heavy. But back in the old days, they did a lot of repetitions. They would do, 5 sets of 10, 5 sets of 12 or 15, some even 20 reps. That's how you pump up the muscles, doing a lot of reps. Whereas a power lifter, he go for that one rep. That was important. He don't care what he looked like that one rep. So what they did, they had a bench press contest. Well, after the bench press contest, Patero won. The people did not believe Patero could beat superstar Billy Graham. Billy Graham looked like that, and Patero didn't have all the muscles, kind of chubby looking guy. And so after the contest was all over, the guy went to clean the set, take the bench away, take the weights away and everything. So this one guy, the weight that they lift, the guy grabbed the weight, threw it up on his shoulder and walked off the set with it. So everybody saw that the weight was fake weight. What they would do, they would get, the bar is 45 pounds, so they had to use the 45-pound bar. So then they take the two 45-pound plates put on there. That would make 135 pounds. All the rest of the weights was wooden, or whatever they made it out of back in them days, like plastic or whatever that stuff was. So in reality, the whole thing weighed about maybe 150, 160 pounds. But they telling people it's 500 pounds, even though it's not 500 pounds, because 3 of the plates, 6 of the plates are fake, only 2 plates are for real. So when the guy was probably about 180 pounds, and superstar Billy Graham at that time was 270, Patero was 300. So this 100-some pound man picked up the weight and walked off set with it and got caught on camera.
Oh, dang.
From that day on, they say we will never do the bench press again unless the person actually could lift the weight. That's why every time I went to ring, I always did 500. Now, in the gym, I used to do 500 pounds for 5 reps. I rest 2 minutes. I do another 5 reps. Rest 2 minutes. This is with 500. I would do 5 sets of 5 repetitions with 500. Then I would drop down to 405 pounds, and I would do 1 set of 20 reps. So I was able to do 405 pounds for 20 reps.
After
doing
reps.
5 sets of 5, that was my pump out. But it was the end of my bit. Everything else I was going to do going to be lateral movement. I do lateral dumbbell fly, incline dumbbell fly. I didn't do incline benches back then. I used to do military press, front military press all the time. So I used to save my tricep for my press, because if I did my benches and then I do my incline, I wouldn't have a lot of lift for my shoulder press. And when I was 19 years old, y'all can look this up. Let me see, what year would that be? Because I remember the guy told me, he said, Tony, you're going to be 20 in April. So you butted into this contest now because you're a teenage, and I was going to be 20. So if you look up, I think it was 92 or 93. I think it's 93. 19, not 90. 93. Like I said, the lights on, but nobody home. 1973. At 19 years of age, I cleaned and jerked 350 pounds. That I brought it up from here to here to here. I went for 400 pounds, but when I did the 400 pounds, I got it to here and it came back down. Then I shot it up again and I got it on the second tip, but the guy said, you can't do that, Tony. You have to do it all in one attempt. So at age 19, I was able to put 400 pounds over my head. I set in the 242-pound class, I set the state rack up at just all at 19. of 480 pounds. 480 pounds. I remember Ken Patero later on made fun of me. I'm going to find that book and show it to y'all because they used to put the results in the back of the bodybuilding book. And Patero made fun because I did a 480 bench press, but a 450 squat. He said, I've never seen anybody that bench more than what they squat.
Can I cut in for a second?
Go right here, my friend.
Yeah, folks, everybody that's listening at home, I don't know if you just heard this like I did. At 19 years old, he was already 242 pounds. Think about that. His body hasn't even filled out yet, and he's already 242 pounds.
And I started working out when I was 16.
That's crazy.
No. It only takes 2 years to build a body.
I understand, but 242.
There was a lot of guys that did that. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Started when we were 16.
Mhm.
We were 19 or Mr. Olympia, the best in the world.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying that's the minority.
Yeah.
That's the,
But I tell these stories not to brag about myself, to tell people this. The biggest problem right now when it comes to the gym, is distractions. 90% of everything we do physically is mental. I was telling one of my students the other day, is a female, and she wanted to lose weight. I put her through a routine. About a month later, I come in, I see her, she's walking on a treadmill, but she got a cell phone in her hand. So I went up to her and I said this. I said, you ever go to a restaurant like Denny's or Applebee's or Buffalo Wild Wings? She said, oh yeah, I go out to eat. I said, have you ever noticed that these waitresses, they walk for 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. They don't lose 1 pound. In fact, some of them get bigger. I said, another lady come to the gym and walk for 1 hour and lose weight. How can you walk for 8 hours and lose no weight and walk for 1 hour and lose weight? Easily. The lady on the treadmill is concentrating on losing weight. She's concentrating on her body. The lady in the restaurant are concentrating on her customers. And that's why a lot of guys, when I first started working out, you knew that guy went to the gym. You knew when you saw him. You knew. Nobody will tell you this guy lift weight. You could tell he lift weights. Now people go to the gym every day and they don't look no different than they starved. Because the body is doing one thing, the brain is doing another. That's why I've always talked about both weightlifting and bodybuilding and powerlifting, where I talk about wrestling too. In the older days, when we wrestled, Ole Anderson told me this, do nothing in the ring that you will not do in real life. Most back in the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s, most people have been in a real fight. So they know that what you would do, they wouldn't do that. In fact, guys today would look stupid compared to guys in the 70s, to people in the 70s, because they said, boy, what an idiot. Who would turn their back on their opponent? When we used to slam a guy to the mat, as soon as he hit that mat, we cover him. If you're trying to win the match, you're going to cover him. That's the only way you're going to win the match is covering the guy. So you got to cover him. Now, they slam you and they pick you up. What you knock him down for, you go pick him up. You don't help him back up. My day, you help keep him down, not pick him back up. So that's what I'm saying, reality. What have happened in the world of wrestling? Reality left. It's kind of like watching Buzz Bunny. The WWE, ECW, AEW. Yeah, they must have signed a contract with Walt Disney. Making down Peter Pan movies and Daffy Duck and Daffy Duck and Roadrunner. That's what they look like to me. What do you call it? The Ninja Mutant Turtles.
Oh.
Them Mutant Turtle guys. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Close enough, Tony.
Them damn turtles out doing karate and stuff. That's what it looked like to me. Now, I'm not, like I say, I'm not taking nothing away from, but I was raised up to make the people believe it's your money work. When you go to a movie, you don't want to know what happened in the movie before you watch it. When you go to a show, you want to escape reality for a few minutes and get into what is like going on. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of trouble for saying this. I'm gonna get in so much trouble, boy. I'm gonna get in some trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Rap is crap. I hate to say it, guys. I know y'all making a lot of money. Your heart is really into it. But if you hear one rap song, you hear them all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And get paid. I gotta learn how to. Yeah, baby. Yeah, yeah. Can I get a G? Can I get a E? Sound like cheerleaders. In my day, they sung and they played music by notes. They went by notes. You know what music notes, them things? In my day, we turn on the old radio. Let me wrap you in my warm and tender love. Yeah, let me wrap you in my warm and tender love. Now, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I can't sing whatsoever. I knew I could not sing, but I still like doing it. Because one time I was singing, then my mom came up to me and said, son, when I was young, I used to wish that I could sing. But now that I have to listen to you, I wish that you could sing. That what my mom said to me. My mother was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful woman. And not just my mom. Back in the days of motherhood that don't exist no more. My mother didn't take me to a restaurant and ask me, what did I want to eat? My mother didn't get on an airplane and turn to me and say, where do you want to sit? She didn't ask me no question. There was no democracy in my home. It was all dictatorship. Mm-hmm. My mother said, while you're under my roof, my rules. When you get old enough where you can support yourself and take care of yourself, then you can make your own decision. But while you live under my roof, son, you're going to follow my rules. And that's the way it was. You can ask my brother Charles. You can ask my brother Walter. Mom ruled the roost. And we listen to Mom. If I didn't listen to Mom, I wouldn't be here now. I appreciate each and everything my mother taught me. I wish I could have spent more time with her. We all got parents. Thanksgiving is coming up pretty soon. So if you got loved ones, if you got family members and stuff. I know Cobra kept us separated for quite a while, but this is the first time I'll be able to. My wife is still in the hospital with a stroke. She's here in Lewiston at the Ville, and I go out there every day and sit with her and help her with her meals, help her to change, and I help her with everything. Some of the CNAs, they always tease me. They say, hey, you should get a job at this. You're pretty good at this. I say, I just want to take care of one woman, not all of them. I don't be wiping all them butts. I don't mind wiping one woman butt because my wife would have wiped my butt for me too if I was in the hospital. I ain't doing nothing for my wife, Monica, that she wouldn't do for me. So I want all y'all to remember Thanksgiving is coming. Get with your family. You live, I live, we live in the greatest country in the history of the world. I want to tell this Thanksgiving story if I got time. I got time left?
We have 8 minutes left.
Oh, that's plenty of time.
Do you want to cover anything else about Gotch?
I get them on the next week.
All right.
I don't forget about. But one. Oh, no, you're right. Let me get them now because next week I won't remember. Okay. The last time I saw Carl Gotch, that is how I wrestled him over the years and all this and that stuff. We was in Japan, and me and the Sheik, the Iron Sheik, we just got back from the gym. So Gotch must have been in a bad mood or something. So Carl Gotch, Larry, before I tell this, find that stuff on here for me, my friend, about what type of exercise he did to train. Now, Carl Gotch didn't believe in, as I say, in weightlifting. Most of the wrestlers did not believe in bodybuilding and weightlifting and everything else. So we look up some of the exercises because I've seen cars do this. I even did these exercises with them. I didn't know what they were. So I was looking to look them up. So what type of training he did?
He did calisthenics,
Body
weight exercise. He
Body-
didn't pick up any weight. It was
Yeah.
all.
He used his own body weight. Calisthenic body weight exercise.
He did bridges, Hindu squat,
That's them here.
and Hindu press ups.
And Hindu's presser. Now, what that is like upside down push ups. I mean, yeah, you know, you put your feet up on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put your feet on the wall and you go down and up, you know, with your feet high up on the wall. But these are the type of exercise these guys did because they thought
shoulder press.
Right, shoulder press pretty much. Because they figured that it was make you muscle bound. But anyway, the Iron Sheik went to the gym with me. Don Morocco, God bless him. None of the guys wanted me and the Sheik with him. So Don Morocco took care of us. The whole time I was in Japan, Don Morocco was right there taking care of me and the Sheik. So the Sheik appreciated, you know, me and Morocco hanging out with him. And what ended up happening was, we was at breakfast and Carl Gotch was sitting there. And some of the guys was talking about how much, a guy named Peter, he was a Japanese bus driver and a wrestler. He would say that he would talk to Anoka about me lifting weights in the ring to show people how strong I was. Well, I guess Gotch didn't like him talk about how strong I was. Gotch said, yeah, a piercing neck geek. Nothing but a piercing neck geek. How come all them bodybuilders got the big arm and the skinny neck? He's nothing but a piercing neck geek. Lifting them weights. I could whoop anybody that lift them weights. Look at me. I did this. I did that. I did this. I never lift a weight in my life. Well, anyway, the Iron Sheik sitting there. The Sheik liked me. Still liked me, I hope. Mr. Gotch. Mr. Carl of a Gotch. I'm the Iron Sheik. I go to the gym. I lift the weights. I lift the weights with the Mr. US of an Atlas, Tony. That's the Mr. USA of an Atlas, the Sheik. If you think that, look at the Sheik neck. The Sheik don't have the piercing neck, and the Sheik lift the weights too. The Sheik bench press with the Tony Atlas. The Sheik press with the Tony Atlas. The Sheik do the exercise with the Tony Atlas. Mr. Gotch, you come. You take the Sheik. You fight the Sheik. The Sheik don't have piercing neck. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at that, the Sheik neck. You come on, Mr. God. The Sheik will show you what the wrestler, weightlifter will do to you. Mr. Gotch. You come on and take on the Sheik. Gotch got up from the table and left. That's the Iron Sheik. Nobody wanted to fight the Sheik. Trust me. If it wasn't for the Sheik, no offense to Hogan, Bob Backlund would still be champion. Backlund was not going to drop that belt to Hogan. They had to find somebody in that room that could beat Bob Backlund. And that was pretty slim and none. Bob Backlund was about the toughest SOB this world ever seen. You may not know it by looking at him or talking to him because, you know, he was just a nice, bubbly guy. You know, who would think that you can't beat, but he whooped the hell out of you. Backlund and Johnny Rods was tough as frickin' nails, brother. And he said he was not going to put that belt on, was not going to lose to Hogan. He was not going to do it. And there was no way Hogan could beat him. I don't think it was anybody. So they got the Sheik to do it. Then the Sheik got Bob Backlund hooked in a hole. Got him hooked in a hole. And I remember scolding him, taking a towel and throwing the towel in because he didn't believe that the Sheik could do it. Backlund was not going to give up. So that was the first screw job for the.
That was legit.
Yeah.
I thought the towel was.
The towel had nothing to do with it. The towel was Vince backup. Kind of like what they did with Renee Richter with Moolah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what they did with Bret Hart, though.
Yeah.
Cap. They always had a backup just in case it didn't go the way they wanted to go. Because a wrestler could change. In my day, we could change our freaking mind.
Yeah.
And that promoter's not in the room. They had me to wrestle King Kong Bundy. They have what they SD Joe to lose to King Kong Bundy in like 4 minutes. They told me to do that. I went 20 minutes. They jumped on Bundy. I hear Vince Senior going, not Senior but Junior said, Bundy, I told you to go a short match with Tony and don't sell for him. He said, I wasn't selling for him. He said Tony's so damn strong that he picked me up and threw me whenever he wanted the world he wanted me to throw it. He said, I'm not a fighter, Vince. I'm a worker. He said, you got to find somebody else to go in there to manhandle Tony Atlas. They couldn't handle me. I was just too strong and too big. So they tell me to lose and to go out there and lay down for somebody in 2 freaking minutes. I wasn't going to do that. That's why we lost the title. They had Rocky Johnson to drop the title and not me. I would never let Adrian Dollars or Dick Murdoch pit me. Guys that never seen the inside of a gym, big old pot-belly guy, nothing against pot-belly people. Don't y'all start writing, Tony making fun of fat people. No, I'm not making fun of fat people. He was fat. Like I'm ugly and black. Don't mean I'm making fun of ugly people and black people because I'm ugly and black. But I got the guns, baby.
And modest.
Yeah, and very modest. So Larry is trying to tell me that we only got a very little bit of time left. Getting back to what I was saying, be thankful this year. I always complain about working too much, but then when I go out the hospital and see my wife, who could barely get out of bed, she can't leave the building. She's stuck in one room for 24 hours a day. The only time she leave her room is when I go out there and take her out to the gazebo or take her somewhere. But without the family support, so you got family in nursing home, if you got family in anywhere, hospital, nursing home, anywhere, please go see her. I mean, the saddest thing in the world when I see people that spend their whole life raising the kids and raising their grandkids, and then the family write them off. They tell me a story about guys who was married to women. The woman have a stroke, she become disabled, the guy leave her. I'm not leaving my wife, Monica. She was always there for me. And once again, this is Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, and my good friend Hillbilly Larry saying, Happy Thanksgiving.